can he just sleep through the night like other babies? This is what I asked myself 6 years ago when my youngest Brayden was taking a cue from P. Diddy and waking up all night long to pop bottles. Literally every hour he woke up to take a little sip of milk in order to fall back to sleep. And it left both of us absolutely exhausted. I could hardly string together a sentence. I had no patience for my daughter, who was 2 at the time, nor did I have any patience for my husband. I was an absolute mess. I wasn't really enjoying motherhood much. As much as I was trying, it was so hard because I was so darn tired. And my son Braden was really tired too. However, I didn't really realize it until he started getting more sleep and his behaviors changed. Well, luckily, I figured out what was causing his night wakings. And it was the fact that I was rocking and feeding him to sleep. It had nothing to do with how I was handling his wake ups, but everything to do with how he was falling asleep. He was using a prop. And I bet you your child is using a prop too to fall asleep. And that's why they're waking so often at night. You might be rocking your child to sleep, feeding them to sleep, holding them to sleep, bouncing them to sleep, standing on your head to get them to sleep, or maybe they have a pacifier. All those things are considered sleep props, and they lead to night wakings because none of us actually sleep through the night. We all wake up 5 times throughout the night. And these wake ups occur after a sleep cycle. A sleep cycle is about 90 minutes, and it's when we go from light sleep to deep sleep, and then there's a brief wake up. And during this brief wake up, we do an environmental scan to make sure that our environment matches bedtime. This is a protective mechanism because if it doesn't, it means that there's danger. So, what happens is if you're helping your child fall asleep with using a prop, then when they wake up in the middle of the night, things look amiss, and that triggers the flight or fight reflex, and their body's going to start producing cortisol, the alert hormone or the stress hormone. It's going to result in a full wake up. And then since they don't know how to put themselves to sleep, they can't put themselves back to sleep. And you're going to have to come in and repeat whatever you did during the bedtime routine to get your child to fall back to sleep. So think about it. It'd be similar to you falling asleep in your bed and then you wake up on the front lawn. You'd be pretty freaked out, right? And you wouldn't be able to fall back to sleep on the front lawn because that's not where you sleep. You'd have to go back to your bed. So the same thing is happening overnight with your child because the last thing they remembered was maybe being in your arms or having the passy in their mouth. And then they wake up and those things are missing and they're in their crib by themselves. That's going to be really alarming. And that's going to trigger a full wake up. So it's all about getting rid of these external props. It's the inconsistencies between bedtime and overnight that leads to wake ups. So you want to keep your environment consistent. So you want to stop rocking to sleep, feeding to sleep, using the pacifier to get your child to sleep. And I know this sounds really, really scary, but I have worked with over 1,000 families for the past 5 years, and I have yet to meet a child who can't learn to put themselves to sleep. They all can do it. The problem is they're not going to like it, and they're going to show their frustration through crying, which can be really, really hard as a parent. That's one of the reasons why I waited so long to sleep train my son, is because I didn't want him to cry. But the good news is that you don't have to put your child in their crib, walk out, and let them just cry it out and not go back in. You can use a supportive method so that your child knows that you're there and that everything is okay. Yeah, they're still probably going to cry a lot, but they don't have to do it on their own. You can support them. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the common sleep training methods that you can use while supporting your child in learning this new skill. So the first one is called pick up, put down. So that's whenever your child's crying in their crib, you pick them up, you walk them around, You get them really calm, and then you put them back into their crib again. And you keep doing that until they fall asleep. I find that this technique can be successful in newborns. So that would be children under 4 months. I find that over 4 months, this can be a little bit overstimulating and actually lead to more crying. So if you have a baby who is a newborn, you can use this method to gently teach them to be more independent without any tears. The next method is a method that I use in my practice, and it's called the in the room method. And this is where you have a chair in the child's room, you put them down, and they're going to start crying. And what you do then is offer them some periodic comfort and support. And every few nights, you move the chair further and further and further away until you're out of the room. So the purpose of being in the room is not to necessarily stop the crying. It's again, just to let your child know that you're there and everything is okay. So the next method, there's less parental intervention, and that is called either the Ferber method, controlled crying, graduated extinction, out of the room. There's so many different names for this. And this is where you put your child in their crib, you walk out, you put a timer on, you wait a period of time, and then you go in and offer a little bit of comfort and support, and then you leave. And you keep doing that. You go back and forth until your child's asleep. And then the very last method is cry it out or extinction. So this is what a lot of people think sleep training is, and it doesn't have to be that way. However, if this is something that's right for your family, it's not going to cause any harm. There's a lot of research to show that cry it out doesn't cause toxic stress, and there is no impact on your attachment with your baby. So what cry it out is basically is you put them in their crib, walk out, and you don't go back in. You let them figure it out. Like I said, you don't have to use this method. And most of my clients, we either use stay in the room, the chair method, or out of the room, controlled crying or graduated extinction, however you want to call it. But those methods typically work 9.99999 times out of 10. So the thought of sleep training your baby feels really overwhelming. Don't worry, you are not alone. And that's why we're here, is to help you. We exist to take the stress out of sleep training. And there's 2 different ways that you can access my time-tested and true Murray method for babies that I've been using for over 5 years with 1,000 families. And what we found with this method is that most babies start sleeping through the night, or maybe just waking up once to feed, anywhere from 3 to 7 nights. So you have 2 different options to choose from. You can either take our on-demand program that teaches you everything you need to know about sleep training. It covers the 2 methods, in the room and out of the room, talks about naps, bedtime, overnight, early morning wake ups, scheduling, you name it, we go through it in the on-demand program. It is a great option for those of you who are on a budget or want to be able to take the program when time allots. It's only $99, and since you signed up for the distribution list, the email list, you get 20% off. So it's about $76, and you would just use the code LIST at checkout. There is a link in the email we sent you as well. And then the other option, which we're mostly known for, are our one-on-one consultations where you work directly with either me or a sleep squad member, and we tailor the Murray method for your baby. We jump on a 90-minute consultation and go through our entire program and our recommendations for your child. And then we hold your hand every step of the way for 3 weeks. If you are interested in one-on-one support, you can set up a complimentary discovery call so that you can talk to a member of the sleep squad. We can learn more about your situation, explain how we would approach it, and you can decide if it's a right fit for your family. So I hope we get a chance to support you. Regardless, I hope that you decide to sleep train your baby. I know it's scary, but it is worth it. And it's not as bad as you think, especially if you have the right support. So thanks again for signing up. I hope that you found this training helpful, and I hope that you and your child get the sleep you need to feel and be your best.